we're about to go all in to breaking down the eye area, which is one of the first signs to show aging, and it's the thinnest skin on the body. As a nurse practitioner and business owner of a skincare company, thousands upon thousands of people have expressed concerns about their eye area, what to do about it on a skincare basis, office treatments, whether you have dark circles, fine lines, puffiness. We're gonna break down all of it, from what you can do at home, the lifestyle modifications you can make, and the office treatments you can get. So let's get into it. First, I think it's important to understand the eye area in and of itself and why it's so challenging to treat. The number one reason is we have to be able to see. You never want to risk your vision for a skin smoothing or correcting treatment. So that is where the challenge comes into play. There's a lot going on underneath the skin that you have to be cognizant of, just like around the mouth. You have to be able to talk. So you have to be really thoughtful of these areas. Whereas like the forehead, no one cares if it doesn't move. You know, lift it up now and then, who cares? Your eyes, you're gonna care if you can't smile normal or if you can't open your eyelid. That's where the challenge comes into play when treating the delicate skin around the eye area. It's also more sensitive. And so I tell everyone, treat this area like tissue paper. The constant crunching when you're smiling, squinting, that's what's really like wearing down some of that eye area, which is why you start to see fine lines around that area more quickly. And then the thinning of the skin is where you start to see some of the muscles, the blood vessels, which a lot of times contributes to dark circles. So thickening the skin is really one of the key factors of improving the eye area. First up, dark circles. This is by far the most common complaint. And the most challenging thing is that there are a multitude of reasons why you may have dark circles. Some of them may be lack of sleep, genetics, allergies, or just thinning skin. First of all, and the most time-consuming part, is figuring out what is the cause of your dark circles. And a little trick you can do is something I like to do with the eye area. I don't like to do this a lot because I don't like to tug on the eye area, but what you can do is you can actually pinch the skin. You lift up the skin on the eye area, and you'll see if you lift up the skin and you don't see the darkness anymore and you only see it when the skin lays flat, that means that the skin is thin and you're likely seeing the blood vessels, the muscle underneath the eye area. That means you need to thicken the skin. Now, if you're pulling the skin up and you're still seeing the darkness, that could potentially mean that the skin is actually dark, has some darkening to it, and that's a whole different type of treatment. So that's a really quick way you can determine what is causing the darkness. Is it the actual skin, or are you actually seeing the muscles and the vasculature under the skin? From a lifestyle perspective, here are a few quick things you can implement if you are experiencing dark circles and want some lifestyle modifications. One, get enough sleep. Beauty sleep is real, and that means 8 hours, okay? And that means consistently, not just making up for lost time. So adequate sleep is really important. You also want to make sure you're properly hydrated. I think this is a no-brainer, but also a lot of people are not properly hydrated. This is why I always add electrolytes to my water. I use a brand called Relight. I'll link all of this in the video, but making sure you're properly hydrated, and a lot of times just drinking plain water isn't sufficient, and then making sure you have good iron intake. These are two things that can help to eliminate dark circles. Allergy management is essential. And if you suffer from allergies and if you wake up more puffy in the morning, or you notice dark circles more prominent at certain times of day or after different exposure, this is likely an allergy issue, and no skincare, no treatment is going to do anything. So really breaking down the root of what is the allergen and treating that accordingly. Skincare recommendations for dark circles. I think of skincare like brushing your teeth. You need to be doing it twice a day, and it's going to give you 80% of the results that you're going to see. And then you add in office treatments for the extra 20. If you're not doing your daily skincare, you're not going to see the results from an office treatment or maintain the results from an office treatment. For improving skin darkening, those are going to be brightening ingredients like vitamin C. This is great to put around the eye area. Like I said, the eye area can be more sensitive, and so testing any product you're going to put around the eye area, if you notice sensitivity first, is really important. Brightening ingredients like vitamin C and kojic acid are really great to include there. We have a vitamin C serum and we have a brightening serum, so I include both of those in my routine. That's going to help the skin quality. There's also antioxidant properties in vitamin C, which are also helpful to prevent future damage. And since the eye area is more prone to damage from environmental exposure, it's really important to put antioxidants around that area. Sunscreen. Sunscreen causes about 90% of skin aging, and so just being really adamant about putting sunscreen around the eye area. If you're not able to tolerate your traditional sunscreen around your eye, a lot of people with more sensitivities around the eyes can't. You can get one specifically formulated for the eye. Color Science has a great one for this. You just are gonna put it all around the eye area. If you can tolerate your daily sunscreen around your eye area, I can. So I just go crazy. And then I think of any product that I put on top of that. If it is a concealer with SPF in it, I just think of that as an added bonus. But that way I know I'm covered, and making sure the whole eye area has sufficient SPF coverage. Using this, I also do this with my vitamin C, because vitamin C boosts the efficacy of your sunscreen. I don't have sensitivity around my eye area with vitamin C. I apply that product all around my eyes, no issue, and then sunscreen on top. But again, always just try it, okay? And see if it works for you. If it causes sensitivity, quit. If you did the eye test and you notice the dark circles resolving when you pulled the skin away from the eye, and then you notice them returning when you put it down, that's likely from thinning skin. So you need to thicken the skin. This is where regular use of a retinoid around the eye area is really impactful. Here's the thing. You never want to just put a retinoid around the eye area. You never want to risk migration into the eye. And I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so forgive me, any ophthalmologist, but there's meibomian gland in the eye area, and this is responsible for the oil production in the eye. So obviously it's really important. You need the eye to be lubricated to properly see. I could probably use some eye drops right now. So you don't want to risk the retinoid damaging those meibomian glands. But I always recommend putting an eye cream on first. This will prevent the product from migrating into the eye area, and then layering your retinoid on top. You could also do this with a thin layer of an occlusive barrier like a Vaseline or Aquaphor just here to prevent product migration. Fine lines and wrinkles around the eye area is the next little topic we're going to discuss. And this is really frustrating for a lot of women, especially because you start to notice it in your 20s and you're like, what in the world? I'm in my 20s. I know for myself, I started noticing fine lines around my eyes at probably 26, and I was like, no, I think I'm a little too young for this. However, I actually think my eyes look better now at 37 than they did at 26, because I implemented some healthy lifestyle factors, skincare, and I've done some office treatments. So let's break it down. First of all, what's causing the fine lines and why are you seeing them? Because of the thinness of the skin around the eye and the repetitive expressions that we make with our face, as we should, because we are human, the smiling, the squinting, that causes, and the skin being like tissue paper, that causes fine lines to develop over time, because you're constantly crunching that area of skin, and over time you're seeing those fine lines under the eye. Another thing that can cause fine lines under the eye is sleep lines, and that's something that is totally different than lines of expression. That's something where if you are a side or stomach sleeper, like myself, and you know what, I've been trying for years to sleep my back, it's just not working out for me. So if you're a side or stomach sleeper, you are going to inevitably, eventually get some fine lines where you sleep. And that's just where the skin, I don't even want to do this because it's like, why am I overly, but here we go. You know, it's for the people. Look at that. If you're sleeping, look what's going to happen. You're going to get lines like that. And Botox isn't going to treat that, because that's not a line of expression. Those are two main causes of the fine lines underneath the eye. The third is dehydration and not great skincare habits. And so those can quickly be resolved with implementing some skincare around the eye area. Similarly to what you're going to do for dark circles, as far as from a skincare perspective with antioxidants, vitamin C, and retinoids to help thicken the skin, this is also going to be beneficial for treating the under eye area for fine lines and wrinkles. The good news is like a lot of the treatments overlap. It's not like you have to do 5 different things. The dark circles is just figuring out the cause, and the fine lines and wrinkles is just improving the skin quality and reducing some expressions and ideally changing your sleeping habits. So you're going to want to use your vitamin C, you're going to want to use your SPF, and you're going to want to use your retinoid all around the eye area, same way that I said for the dark circles. You also want to make sure that the eye area is properly hydrated. So a little hack that you can do, it's very inexpensive, you can use an occlusive barrier at night. The only time I don't recommend this is if you're new to using retinoids and you don't want to put an occlusive barrier on top of a retinoid. So you could try this after you're tolerating retinoid for a long time, or on nights that you don't use your retinoid. You can put something like a Vaseline, an Aquaphor to the area to lock in hydration, and that is going to prevent transepidermal water loss, which is going to allow the eye area to be more hydrated, and the more hydration is going to look more plump and not show as many fine lines and wrinkles. Something that I do every single morning, because I'm a side and stomach sleeper and I wake up with fine lines around my eye, is I wear medical grade reusable eye patches. We have some at Bareface. I wear these every single day because I want to smooth out those lines. It's not gonna permanently smooth them out because I'm sleeping on my side that same night, but it's giving the skin time to like recover and rest. And it's also acting as a mini eye treatment. When you're using the medical grade patches, they are acting as an occlusive barrier. That means they are helping drive the product you put underneath deeper into the skin. This is why they're so effective. They act as like a mini eye treatment. And then they're also going to temporarily soften those lines. So that's why I like them in the morning, because I like to wake up looking refreshed. And they smooth out those lines that I have made the night before. Before I jump into in-office treatments, I'm gonna do one more eye concern, and it's just gonna be brief because the majority of times this is going to be more of a surgical intervention. But if you're starting to notice hooded eyelids or a lot of puffiness on the lower eye, or really like skin laxity where you can pull the skin down and it doesn't return within a second. So it's a little test, it's called a snap test. I mean, I'm doing all this for the video. I hate to touch my eye area like this. So if you do a snap test and you're not seeing it pop back up within a second, that's likely going to need a surgical intervention. And if you're noticing heavy like hooding on the top of the eyelids, again, that's likely a surgical intervention. There are some non-invasive options you can do. They're just not that impressive. I don't even think they're worth talking about. You notice hooding or puffiness, a lot of puffiness under the eye area, I would go see an oculoplastic surgeon to evaluate that area and see if you're a good candidate for a upper or lower blepharoplasty. All right, let's break down some office treatments, which I love. I just think they go hand in hand with your skincare. So I always like to prep the skin for at least 6 to 8 weeks with a solid skincare routine before even recommending an office treatment, because you want your skin to be as healthy as possible. So that way it responds better to the treatment, and that way you're getting more bang for your buck, and then you maintain it again with your skincare routine. So they all go hand in hand. One doesn't replace the other. Office treatments for fine lines of expression are relatively easy. Botox. And this is something that you treat on the side of the eye. If you have some fine lines that you don't like underneath the eye, you can do a couple units here or there. This is where you want to go to someone who's experienced in doing this, because there's something called a jelly roll here, and I'm going to try to show you. So I actually am due for my Botox. This is perfect. So this is called a little jelly roll. This doesn't bother me. I've had it treated before and I thought I looked like a dead person because I would smile and it would be like this. Like, I don't like to look like that. I like to look human. I don't like to look weird. So I would rather have some fine lines, and I would rather have some just natural aging than look weird. But some people really like this area treated, and it's called the jelly roll. So your eye doesn't like squint and pull up as much. And then also, if you have fine lines in this area, you can do like 1 unit of Botox here. So your muscle doesn't pull as much in and you don't see a lot of lines there. For me, I like to treat Botox in my lateral brow to lift it. I want my brow to be like this. And this brow is just naturally higher, so I kind of have to like work on that. But I lift my lateral brow here, and then I do a couple units around the eye area. I would say if you've never had Botox around the eye area, the biggest thing is your provider, finding a provider that you can trust, because, and I've had this happen to me, I feel like I've had everything happen to me because I've been in the aesthetic industry for over a decade. So if you're not careful and if you over treat the eye area, you can get something called a shelf. So you smile and you look like this. That's weird, okay? You want to have some squinting because that's normal. So if you over inject here and you have no fine lines when you smile, you're just not gonna look right. Someone's gonna look at your face and they're gonna say, I don't know what's going on, but it looks off. And that's just what we don't want. So I like to taper down my dosing. So I do the bulk of the dosing here because I don't really care. I want this to lift, and I don't really care if this area moves or not. Then below the lateral canthus, I kind of like taper down the dose so it just looks more natural. So you might still have some fine lines here, but it's just softer. So you kind of like take one for the other. And again, I'm trying to look natural, not weird. The only other thing I like with Botox for the eye area is I will treat in this glabellar complex because I want to lift my brows. And if you have any hooding like this of the brow and weight here, and you want to open the eye area, if you treat here and here, it's a really nice opening eye effect. And as we get older, we just naturally just get heavier in the brows. So that's really nice for fine lines and then also opening the eye. From an injectable standpoint, the two other things I have done myself, and one I like better than the other. The first is filler. This is really if you have volume loss to the area. I used to really like under eye filler, and I had mine done probably 8 years ago. Shoot, you can't even really tell, but it's starting to lift a little bit here, and it's not my favorite now, and it's probably my last resort for a patient because I think there can just be so many negative side effects. So it is an option if you have hollowing. You really need to be a good candidate for it, but it's not my go-to option. There's a lot of other things I would do before getting filler under the eye again. The third injectable I do like, it's an injection of PRFM, platelet-rich fibrin matrix. This is something where they draw your blood, spin it, and you get out platelet-rich fibrin matrix. It's a little different than PRP. It's more of a gel consistency. And so you can inject it underneath the eye area, and it's going to improve the quality of the skin under the eye, which is great for dark circles, which is great for fine lines and wrinkles, because it's all about the quality of the skin. So if you can improve the quality of the skin, you're going to notice the dark circles and fine lines a lot less. And I also like to incorporate microneedling to the area. This is going to poke tiny little holes into the skin, kind of like aerating a lawn. And the goal is that new collagen and new skin grows through those little holes. So you're thickening and improving the skin quality. You'll see, like, it's all about improving the skin quality. And you can also improve the skin quality with lasers. And actually, this is my personal favorite. And I think this is just as I've gotten older. So I kind of think of like microneedling as something to do in your early 30s. And I think as you progress 35 plus, 40 plus, then you kind of want to look into lasers more. And because lasers are more intense, they're just going to give you a better result. And so I love a CO2 laser just to improve skin quality. They're going to get a little bit deeper. There's some heat involved, so they cause a little bit more inflammation. There's a little bit more downtime associated with them, but they're just better, in my opinion. Or actually, they just are. They're just better. I love a laser. I mean, I love this for the full face, but we're just talking about the eyes right now. If I was going to choose, I would say I'm going to choose a laser over microneedling for 35 plus. Chemical peels are okay for the eye area. I don't think they're really anything great at this time. So I'm gonna kind of breeze over that for the eye area. The last and final thing from an office treatment would be blephs. And you can get a bleph if you have excess skin. You can get a bleph if you have a herniated fat pad, or I guess it's a pseudo herniated fat pad. Excusez-moi. Here's the thing, I'm not doing the surgeries. I just know how to identify the problem for this specific issue. So if you have a pseudo herniation of your fat pad where you're noticing like bulging, and some of that you can tell, we used to do this test when I worked with plastics, and you get on your eye area and you push and you see where that kind of bulge is, and you notice how much it's going out, and you can kind of tell if, and like, I don't have this issue, so it's not going to be a good example, but as you get older, there's some laxity with the ligament that can kind of hold it in. And so it's a little test that you can do in office. But if you're noticing that, my recommendation is just go see an oculoplastic. There's no harm in that. And hopefully they're just going to tell you, hey, you're ready for that. Or, hey, this is something that you can consider in the next couple of years. You may have noticed that I didn't cover any specific eye creams. And that is because I think that eye creams are nice to have, especially from a preventative standpoint, but they're really not treating a lot of issues. So prevention is obviously the key here. And a lot of us just didn't know that. And a lot of us are just still looking for treatment, just depending on the age that we are and the concerns that we have around the eye area. The biggest thing is get your core routine right. And your core routine is your vitamin C, your retinoid, your exfoliant. You kind of want to avoid that area with the eyes, and your SPF. But you want to make sure if you can tolerate a vitamin C, a retinoid, and an SPF around the eye area daily, that's your foundation. That is going to help your skin quality. And then on top of that, you can look to invest in an eye cream. But eye creams I think of are more preventative and less corrective. I think there needs to be a level set on what we expect from an eye cream. I like using an eye cream. I use an eye cream every day, but I also use the foundational and the core 4 products around my eyes, which is really important to protect, prevent, repair, and correct. The eye area is just a little bit more challenging because the skin is so thin. So there needs to be an understanding. And I feel like from a marketing perspective, brands just don't want to do this because it's like, you want to be the next great thing for the eye area. And there's just nothing out there. And likely, like, maybe never will be that's that corrective for the eye area as a topical product. There's a lot of great preventatives, there's a lot of great products, but it's not anything like that dramatic of a result. And the ones that are, and I've seen the ones that, like, you put on and it helps with the puffiness, obviously, but those, they have their limitations. And a lot of times, like, what the eye area looks like, you have to like wash that product off, otherwise you can't put makeup on top of that. So there's some limitations with those, and there's really no miracle workers out there. So if you ever see anything that is a miracle worker, I had a friend the other day send me an eye product that was $600. She was like, I really think I need to get this product. Like, don't get a $600 eye cream. And here's the thing, I believe believe in investing in skincare. You only get one skin. So I believe in investing in a good quality skincare routine. I don't think you need a lot of products. And so ultimately you end up kind of like saving money. Okay, it's girl math. You save money because you actually don't need as many products, but you invest in the quality products. So I believe in investing in a quality eye cream. I don't think you need a $600 one. I think you can get your whole routine and it's probably going to be $600 or less. But I do think that the eye cream is not the only thing you need to put around your eye area. And I think that your skincare is your foundation of having healthy skin. So it is really important to use products that you can tolerate around the eye to set that foundation and then look to office treatments to address any specific concerns. Hope that helps. Any questions? Drop them below.